So the next part of our module is about the measures to control inflation. So here, inflation is considered to be a complex situation for every economy. So if inflation goes beyond the moderate or acceptable rate, it can create disastrous situations for the economy or the country. So therefore, it should be under control. So it is not easy to control inflation by using particular measurement or instrument. So the main aim of every measure here is to reduce the inflow of cash in the economy, or it also to reduce the liquidity in the market so that um, the supply of goods the supply of money in the economy will be controlled. Therefore, the demand for goods and services will also be controlled as well as its prices. So the measures of inflation is uh, divided into three types. So we have monetary measures, fiscal, and price control. Okay, for the monetary measures, here the government of a country takes several measures, and they also formulate policies to control economic activities to minimize the inflation. Monetary policy, okay, as mentioned also before, is one of the most commonly used measures taken by the government to limit or control inflation. So here, for monetary policy, so the central bank, okay, this is just like what we have mentioned in our previous video lecture. So they will increase rate of interest on borrowing for commercial banks. Okay, as a result, these commercial banks will increase the rate of interest on credit for the public. Okay, therefore, in this situation, individuals will prefer to save instead of investing. Okay, because there are higher uh, interest rate, okay, for the credit. So this would reduce money supply in the market. Okay, because in this case, if uh, the individual will invest because of the high uh, interest rate, they will earn more. So that's why they will place their money in the banks. So this would reduce money supply in the market. So it will result also in controlling the inflation. So apart from this, the central bank reduces the credit creation capacity of commercial banks to control the inflation. So here, the monetary policy of a country involves the following. So number one is the rise in the bank rate as mentioned. Okay, number two, we are still in the rise in the bank rate. So the bank rate is the rate at which the commercial bank gets free discount on loans and advances by the central bank. So the increase in the bank rate results in rise of the rate of interest on loans for the public, or um, this is a great opportunity also to save or invest their money in the banks. Okay, so this leads to reduction in total spending. So the increase in the bank rate results in the rise of rate of interest of loan for the public. Okay, so the second monetary policy of a country could be direct control on credit creation. So it constitutes the major part of the monetary policy. So those are the monetary measures. Okay, the second measure is fiscal measures. So of course, apart from the monetary policy, the government also uses fiscal measures to control inflation. So there are two components, um, government revenue and government expenditure. In fiscal policy, the government controls inflation either by reducing private spending or they decrease the government expenditure, or both. So, however, in present scenario, reducing government expenditure is not possible because there are certain ongoing projects for social welfare that cannot be postponed, and there are a lot of projects that were proposed. So, besides this, the government expenditures are essential for other areas, such as the defense, health, education, law and order, and other agencies. So, in such case, reducing private spending is more preferable rather than decreasing the government expenditure. So, here, when when the government reduces the private spending, they will increase taxes. Okay, individual decrease their total expenditures because this taxes will limit the spending because the prices will get higher. Okay, because these taxes could be passed on to the consumers. So, for example, if a direct taxes on profits increase, the total disposable income would reduce. Okay, because there are more taxes that will be reduced to your disposable income. So, as a result, your spending will decrease, which in turn reduce the money supply in the market. So, therefore, at the time of inflation, the government reduces its expenditure and increase taxes so that private spending will decrease. Okay, so that's how fiscal measures is applied. So the third measure is the price control. So this is another method for uh, limiting or controlling inflation by preventing any further rise in the price of the goods and services. So in this method, the inflation is suppressed because prices will be controlled, but cannot be controlled for the long term. So in such a case, the basic inflationary pressure in the economy is not exhibited in the form of rise of prices for a short time. So such inflation is termed as suppressed inflation. Okay, so the historical evidence have shown that the price alone cannot control inflation, but only reduces the extent of inflation because prices is one of the factors of uh, rising inflation. Okay, for example, at the time of wars, the government of different countries imposed price controls to prevent any further rise in the prices. However, prices remain at peak at different economies. So this was because of the inflation was persistent, okay, depending on the country which you are in and the other factors that also influence such. So this caused sharp rise in the prices. So therefore, it can be said that inflation cannot be ceased unless its cause is determined. So that's for the different measures of controlling inflation.